Hey guys, Kim Hill here with Gun Scared Freedom. Today we're going to show you how we make homemade jerky. We've got a deer, it's a whitetail, and it was a doe. We're going to cut some of it up and we're going to start the jerky process.
Hi, I'm here to kind of describe a little bit about the deer carcass that we're going to be making. Some of it out of it will be jerky. Along right below the hindquarters, we have the back end of the back of the deer. We're going to be taking in these area of the ribs and body cavity. There are meat that's striated, and we're going to take and take that off the carcass. We're going to process it, take the fat off, and also cut it into strips so that it can be put into our smoker.
And can you tell them what the section is that right there that where the jerky comes?
The section from the spine over the body cavity, which is your ribs, up to the shoulder. We can get some quite a bit of jerky meat up into where the rib cage comes to the center of the body cavity.
Alright guys, we're going to shut the camera off for a little while. We're going to do some work. We got to take this carcass inside because out here in the garage it is frozen solid, and we need to thaw some things out to do some cutting on it. So alright guys, we brought the deer in from the garage. It's so frozen solid that we have to have it in here for a little bit to thaw out a little bit, but I wanted to show you guys a little closer what meat we make in a jerky. This is the front leg of the deer, obviously, the shoulder. Well, right here where you see this meat here and this meat here, you'll notice that it's kind of grain goes that way. Basically that would make a good strip of jerky if we cut it. All this meat right here makes good jerky meat all through here. So this is practically the ribs of the deer, and we're going to take a lot of our jerky meat from the ribs of the deer from both sides. So after it thaws out, we'll get to cutting. I just wanted to go over a few things that you might need when you're cutting on your deer, and you'll notice that we have a small knife, a medium knife, or a larger knife, sharpening steel, and a bone saw, and all of these things will be used to cut up your deer and make jerky. So yeah, just thought I'd throw that in there for reference. Okay, what we're doing here is we've got to carve the fat off of the deer, and basically you're going to be real careful when you do this not to get into the meat, but since our deer's kind of frozen, this makes cutting the fat off a lot easier. But you just kind of go and cut chunks of fat like that off, and you don't want any fat on the meat that you're going to make in a jerky, because as my mother has stated earlier, that basically it's going to make your jerky taste like butt. To put it lightly. But anyways, yeah, we're just going to keep carving on this till we get most, if not all, of the fat off of it. Alright guys, we have been working at carving off the fat from the deer, and you can still see some fat through here, and we've carved a lot off over here and through here. We're just going to keep doing this until we get where we can start to really cutting into the meat. As you can see right now, we're actually starting to cut into some of the meat, and you'll notice that it's kind of a stringy look to it, and that stringy stuff is perfect for the jerky. But you'll notice layer by layer there's more fat, like right here underneath that first layer there's more fat here, and she's got to cut that out of there as well. So we're gonna keep working. Ooh, that looks like a fine piece of jerky right there. Perfect. Right there's some more of it, and you'll notice it's coming off in a layer, and then there's a whole nother layer of fat exposed. Wow. Alright guys, she's going to go ahead and cut off the front shoulder, and that's what she's doing right now. And try to let you see, hopefully. Look at all that yummy deer meat. Are you able to cut through it, or is it still frozen? Oh, listen to that sound crack. Need some help? Ugh. Don't you just love that sound, guys? Just cutting that shoulder right off. Little deer leg. Alright. Let's get right in here and see what's going on. Look at that layer of fat, holy moly. There's a leg. You could knock somebody out with that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to put that on that table over there in the living room?
Yeah, because our jerky's going to come off of
Alright,
this.
well, we've got a table set up in there to basically put some stuff on, so we're going to do that. More fat to carve. I'm going to grab me a knife and get my hands dirty.
Sorry. You're okay.
Fat at you.
Watch out, not get your fat in your eye.
Pretty much.
Alright, just carve it right off of there. That's some nummy looking stuff. Not really. Yeah. But you just gotta kind of fillet it off of there. When it's hard like it is, because it's frozen, it's easier to fillet.
What's that?
Yeah.
Something that it's.
I don't want to cut with your hand right there, so I'm not going to cut your hand off. I'll cut away from you. How's that? Yeah, we're all professional knife wielders. We haven't cut anybody yet, even though it looks like we might.
Yeah.
Yet.
It's still frozen pretty good.
Yeah, it's just carving off there like a color crayon almost, kind of like wax. This knife's getting dull. I'm gonna have to sharpen it. Time to sharpen the knife.
Okay, what we have here is a section of meat that is running with the grain, and it's going to become our jerky when we get it cut down to where we want it and to marinate it and everything. But there's pieces of stuff on it yet, like this, that need to come off. It's kind of stringy. It's like a fascia is what I call it. It holds the meat, binds the meat together pretty much. But we need to get as much of that off of the meat as possible, because it'll make it really tough to chew if you're gonna have anything at all. And things like this up here, we have to take a knife up underneath and try to get as much of it off the meat as possible. That's jointed. That's more like what was covering the ribs.
Yeah, there's a lot of
stuff. And it's gonna. This is stuff that will be.
It's like a fine
taken
coating.
Off, yeah. It's some that's going to be taken off, because you can't really make much jerky out of this. This is the rib casing.
Got that shiny coating on there that has to. You got to get under it and get it out of there.
Over the ribs, so we can't really use that. I'll probably be taking it off right here and using this section.
Right.
And on the other side, it's pretty well cleaned up to here. We still have a little bit of
really
stuff to
right
take
there.
off. Yeah.
But you'll notice how it's stringy, and that's how jerky should be. You just don't want a lot of fat in it.
You want the grain, the most fat off you can get, and as much of this loose
So
fat
stuff like that,
this.
yeah, that stuff, you want to get that nasty stuff off there.
Yeah.
The cleaner the meat, the better.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And then we'll cut it to strips, the size we want, and then we'll end up putting it in a marinade overnight, and then the next day we go ahead and
Smoke
heat
it.
or get the smoker going and use and layer it, and
We're going to show here in a little
describe
bit.
that later, but right now we're just going through the process of cutting up and getting the meat ready to smoke.
Here in a little bit we'll show about how thick we want to cut the strips, and try to give people a general idea. Alright, good job.
Thank you.
Alright, she's got a piece of jerky trimmed up right here, and she's going to go ahead and cut it to the thickness of the slice of jerky that she's going to want to have to cook, and I'll try to show that process right now.
Actually, the thickness, you're going to want about this thick, and then what you're going to do is you're going to make it in strips.
So hang on, let me get the camera in there so they can see. Bring your meat back this way, there you go. And then
you're going to want to take and cut a strip about,
about an inch.
About about an inch, roughly inch and a half
So you'll
of
cut
your meat.
you'll cut an inch, like about like right
yeah,
through
right
there.
through there, and you could get priced. Oh,
Probably get 3 strips
three
of jerky
strips
out of
if you
something
want
that wide.
that, or you can, if you like wider strips, it's a little tougher to chew, or harder to chew, but
The wider.
the wider, like I say, when you got grain running with the grain, it's going to be tough no matter what. That's why jerky is chewy. But you want to make some strips so you're able to get it in your mouth so you can take a bite off.
You
and
probably
chew
don't
or
want it more
soften
than
it
an
up
inch,
and
maybe an inch and a half. Is that about right? Would you say about an inch to an inch and a half? About like.
about right,
So if you're gonna cut it, you just go ahead and show them.
Gonna make a strip here. This is kind of an uneven.
I'll go ahead.
That will go down the.
Well, that right there is kind of a small strip. She will probably cut another one. I'm going to go ahead and put this in our jerky bucket over here. Sorry for the beam of light in the camera, guys. Alright, don't hook me here. Alright, so we've got about, we're about that wide. Whoops, that kind of didn't work right, did it? There we go. So we're making strips about yay big by maybe that thick. And we're going to lay these out on our smoker after we marinate all these strips. So that's just to give you guys an idea, and hopefully it's effective at showing you about how thick these strips are. Alright guys, we've decided to cut the deer. I think they're going to cut it in half and get the butt out of the way, and then we can work on the other section a lot easier. What do you call that? Quartering it, I guess? Or you're cutting it, or having it, quartering it, I don't know. The specific term should be quartering if we're cutting quarter of the deer away, I believe. Wow, look at that. Cutting that. Is that all jerky meat right there? Mm-hmm. That looks like it. I'll try to get this camera up where people can see, because that's important. They're cutting the ribs away, but we're going to cut this deer in half, I guess. I thought we were doing it before, cutting it in half.
Mom, look at what I made. Oh,
I can't.
Alright. The deer has been severed, and now we are, that's the butt end, and this here is the ribs.
Look at that piece right there.
I don't know, Charlotte, about that.
It's pretty thin.
I mean, it's yeah. We'll see.
What's wrong with it?
The meat in there, I don't know. It's not.
What do you mean?
Quite what
In where?
in here, right here.
It's not good?
Well, I didn't say that. I just said it's not exactly. This one would probably be better.
What the heck?
Right here.
Yeah, that was part of it, that when I gutted it. I don't know what the heck.
I gotta get the shoulder off so we can work with the rest of this.
Yeah, we're trying to cut the shoulder off, but I wanted to show the viewers that you guys were chopping the deer in half to make this easier. And there's just a lot of good anatomy on the deer that you can see, which is interesting how muscles have layers and layers and layers and layers. And certain muscles are designed to be stringy, and other muscles are designed to be, I wouldn't call it stringy exactly. What would you call it, Mom?
Oh, you mean the meat?
Well, like, yeah, the meat for jerky is stringy, but
It
like the
is.
roasts aren't stringy. Well,
They're
they can be.
cut. They're
Different
different
grain?
lay of meat. Yeah, the grain goes a different direction.
And it's just, without looking at the meat, it's hard to see that, but when you're right here, you can see it in the meat that the grain matters for what type of meat you're making jerky out of. And the stuff by the ribs just seems to be the exact perfect stuff to use. It's the most stringy. But man, I must say there's a lot of layers of fat. Alright, this here is a slab of meat that is going to be turned into jerky, and you'll notice there's not very much fat on this section here because most of it's been filleted off, and my mom here has been busy filleting this piece for, I don't know, a while. She says it takes a long time, but basically you want to take as much fat out of it as you can, because jerky and fat just don't mix. We're going to take that slab after it's been defatterized. I don't know what you call it. That's a new word. But basically, once you get all the fat off it, then we'll probably cut it into strips. It's looking pretty good so far. But yeah, you'll notice there's not much fat. There's little bits of, like, I don't know what that stuff is. Just fascia or weird stuff. But if you can get it off, that's good. If you can't,
you're not gonna get it all.
You won't get it all, basically. But you'll have a strip of meat or a slab of meat, and once you get a slab of meat, you'll be able to cut strips. Basically, looks like she's gonna do with a dull knife. That is a huge piece of meat right there. So, is that a strip about yay big? What if it's thick on one end? That's what I was kind of wondering about.
It doesn't hurt.
It won't hurt. So it'll shrivel up into, when you smoke it, it'll shrivel up.
Pretty much.
Cool. Well, that's not terribly bad. Little strip. Where is that bucket that we had the other strips in? Sarah, behind you on the counter. There you go. We're starting to make strips. I've kind of got some laid out in here. And there goes one. Yay, jerky. My favorite. So you're cutting with the grain of the meat, basically.
Yeah.
So the grain, you can see that it's stringy running right there. She's cutting with it, not against it, but with it. That's not bad. That looks like a good strip. I'd eat it after it's cooked, of course. Some of this is going to be really good. I can't wait. We might cut some of the lengths in half, though, like those longer ones, because I don't know like how long people's, you know, probably cut them in half and be okay. Yeah, something like that. Because when they shrivel up, how short are they going to be roughly? I mean, it's going to shrink.
You're going to put it in the marinade. It's going to moisturize it, tenderize it, and it's not going to be as bad as it. You're just going to have to take time cooking it and make sure it's done.
Sweet. But yeah, it's a major operation. We've got a offset barrel smoker, and we're going to use some apple wood. It should be pretty good. We're going to marinate this stuff overnight tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to come up early in the morning and I'm going to start the smoker going about 150 to somewhere between 150 to 175 degrees, and we'll do it that way.
Just wash it.
We'll smoke it. Gonna have some in teriyaki marinade, some in salt and pepper with some liquid smoke, and yeah, we're gonna make some jerky. Oh, that looks yummy. Yeah, starting to get some good strips in there. I just don't know how much to expect the shrinkage on it when it cooks.
This depends on the smoker.
That's true. Who knows? Once it cures out, it'll be pretty good. I have a feeling. Yeah, nice. Knife handling. Ooh, someone just about got sliced. It's like the Ginsu kitchen in here.
Yeah.
Ninjas.
Alright, now I have a question. I'm taking this off right here, right? Because there's this piece right here still.
Yeah,
too.
you gotta move.
Yeah, layers.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
See, go along this.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
It comes.
Cut layers. Yeah, good stuff. Good info. We're still working on the other side of the rib cage, so they're layering.
Don't cut towards me.
Boy, this is safe knife handling 101, guys. And this is going on YouTube. They're going to love you. They're going to just pick all kinds of shit about you. The trolls will have their heyday. Oh yeah, there's tons of them out there. Gotta admit, sometimes I can be a troll, but it depends on what it's for.
That's alright. That's alright, dude.
I think we all are little trolls, aren't we?
Yeah.
Little trolls in disguise.
You might have to dust off the bottom part because it had.
I'll turn it over.
There you go. Hey, that's a good slab of meat there. Has that been defatterized, as I call it? I don't even know. That's not really a word. I just made that up.
fat removal.
Yeah. New word, defatterized. Doesn't look as fat as, like, say, that chunk. That chunk has a lot of fat material. This chunk does not. So they've spent considerable time what I'm going to call defatterizing, or taking the fat off of the meat, even though I know that's not really a word.
How does this work? How do we get this bad boy off, Mom?
With a knife?
Hold on. You're going to have to go under.
You asked.
Wait a minute, sure, before you cut, let me look at this.
Yeah, we have comedy hour around here a lot.
Right here.
Gotta have fun, or else it gets boring.
Across there, and that comes loose from the gullet thing.
Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. There's a, what is that nasty stuff? What the heck? Scrap the dog? Something. What time does the store close? Because 6 o'clock. Good. It's 4:30 p.m. right now. I'm gonna have to run to the store and pick up some liquid smoke because I only got one bottle and we're gonna need several. So I'm gonna shut the camera down, run to the store, and I'll be back to do some more filming. These guys are gonna be busy at work while I get to have a free time. Haha.
Bring back the Pepsi.
Oh, yeah, and they want to pop. Imagine that. I wanted to show you guys that we're using basically a teriyaki marinade. It's World Harbor's original recipe, and I think there's 16 fluid ounces here. We've used about half of that in our tub. We've got these plastic tubs at the dollar store, like Dollar Tree, so it's pretty cheap. Anyway, Wright's liquid smoke. We're also using hickory type, and we've got another bottle of that somewhere around here. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna pour these in here in a little bit. Alright guys, we've got 2 buckets here, tubs I guess, that are filled with prepared jerky strips, and we're still cutting on the deer. I mean, it's been several hours we've been at this, taking the fat off the meat and stuff like that. But anyways, with this bucket we're going to make a salt and pepper smoked jerky, and then in this bucket over here we've already taken our prepared strips and put teriyaki marinade sauce, and we're going to let both buckets set overnight in the marinade. This bucket here is for salt and pepper. We're going to have liquid smoke, and we're going to fill this bucket with liquid smoke and then let it set overnight in the fridge with the other teriyaki one. And anyway, tomorrow morning when I get here, I will come over and take the liquid smoked jerky, and I'll sprinkle salt and pepper on it, and then we'll be ready to put stuff on our smoker and cook this stuff up. It should be pretty good, but we're gaming. Hill here with Guns for Freedom. Today I'm out at the range again, and I've got a loaner gun from my buddy Robert, and he's basically loaned me a Ruger 9622.